Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm Emmanuel and today I'm going to give you first impression of the newly released World Update 10 for the United States of America for Microsoft Flight Simulator. So we're currently traveling southbound along the Highway 1, along Key Largo, which is among the new areas covered. And let's start with a small overview of the new updates included in the World Update USA. There are several photogrammetric cities and areas of interest. Those include Albany, Arlington, Boise, Charleston in West Virginia, Disney, Kissimmee, Windermere, Eugene, Key Largo, Lansing, Lynchburg, Olympia, San Diego, and Seattle. Now, my apologies to any American friends who probably want to shoot me right now for mispronouncing at least half of the places. But anyway, you get the idea, and I hope that you bear with me to a European. Alright, so I've chosen Key Largo for the place to explore for my first impressions here, and I'm flying the HOTAS Pilot R-44 helicopter, which is full freeware. It works with Airland FS and got an excellent flight model. It's looking excellent, it sounds very good. However, it is currently still in beta, so the developers themselves say it's about 25% completed. But in my opinion, it flies really nice and it's an excellent helicopter for some sightseeing. So, further features of the World Update include 4 handcrafted airports, which are Catalina Airport, Valdez Airport, Lake Tahoe and Block Island. All of those are created by Gaia Simulations, the same developers that did, for example, Berlin Tegel or Vienna airports sold through OBS. There are also several handcrafted points of interest included in this update. I believe it's 83 of them, but it's actually too many to list them all in the scope of a video like this. There are 3 bus trips, which are about the Appalachians, sorry for the pronunciation, California and Megapolis, 3 land challenges at Income, Atlanta and Telluride, and 3 discovery flights for the Grand Canyon, Seattle and St. Louis. Now, in my opinion, the photogrammetric updates, together with some of the point of interest in airports, are the most important things during those world updates. That's why I decided that I would take my first impression here at Key Largo, which is for me personally probably the most interesting point included, directly followed by Seattle and San Diego. It seems a little bit surprising to me that the handcrafted airports that have been chosen by Microsoft are not really close to any of the photogrammetric areas. So Catalina is around... I'm sorry, I just got distracted here. So Catalina Airport is around Los Angeles, Valdez is in Alaska, Lake Tahoe, well, you know where Lake Tahoe is, and Block Island is close to New York. So, well, New York has already been covered with a photogrammetric scenery with the original Flight Simulator release, so we can bear with Microsoft for including that one. But for the rest of them, I'm a little bit disappointed not to see any airports covered near any of those areas, which are so nice to explore with the new update. Anyway, the World Update 10 is probably the largest World Update that Microsoft has provided yet, covering the the entire United States of America. And my English is terrible today. I really have to apologize for that, guys. Now, currently we're cruising at an altitude of 1,500 feet, and my plan is to follow along the entire Key Largo until we get to the southern end of the photogrammetric area, and then on the way back we're going to take a closer look at some of the features that are included in the area here. Something that you are going to notice is that it's going to be very easy for you to determine when we've reached the southern end of the photogrammetric scenery because there is a noticeable difference in color of the ground as of right now. You can see it up here. We are approaching the end now, and you can just see ahead how big that changes in the scenery's color. So that's something that Microsoft could probably have done a little bit better. And we'll see the same, even more pronounced when we get to the northern end, because we're shortly going to turn around and head back up to the north. And then have a look at the scenery in a little bit more detail. Right, here we go. Clearly marked colored line down there. That indicates the end of the photogrammetric area. Alright, so let's turn around. So let's descend down to a little bit lower level here so that we get to see some more detail of the scenery. We're going all the way down to the 500-foot gate. Now, what we are getting here is typical photogrammetric scenery, I'd say, that includes all its advantages, like the generally correct shapes of the buildings and everything, but it unfortunately also includes, again, the downsides, so some rather interesting looking modeling, to put it that way. We're going to get to that as we are reaching the next small village. But nonetheless, I have to say that the area is looking absolutely amazing, and I can really recommend any of you to take out some small aircraft. Maybe have a look at flightsim.to for some sceneries in the area. So here we are, getting close to the villages and all the harbors once again. We can see the level of detail that's covered here. Some of those houses, like over here, are looking a little bit interesting as well. Anyway, that just comes with photogrammetric scenery, so that's to be expected. And let's be honest here, even though the level of detail is not always 100% perfect, I think we can agree that if you're flying at a decent altitude and not going over here at like 400 feet like I'm doing, then you're hardly going to notice any of this. And of course, I told you a few times already, I'm German. I've got to complain about something. And let's be honest here, in a simulator that's looking as wonderful as this is, we have made such a big leap forward in flight simulation in the last 2 or 3 years since the release of Microsoft Flight Simulator that I have just been complaining about some of the edges in the modeling over here. Now let's be totally honest. If this was a payware scenery for one of the earlier simulators like Prepared or X-Plane, I would probably hail it as the best scenery that's available anywhere. And this is provided free of charge, more or less, as a default. By the way, have I ever mentioned how nice it gotta be to live in one of those houses? Have your personal boat right in front of your house? This is honestly a dream come true, isn't it? Well, unless Ryans like myself are flying over your place in 500 feet with a helicopter. So, as I've said earlier on, around the key Largo over here, there is actually no airport or helipad in the covered photogrammetric area, so we'll have to depart from an airport slightly to the northeast. But There is one that's just a couple of flight minutes away. I believe that the code is 07 Foxtrot Alpha, and there is actually a freeware scenery available for it on flightsim.to that's working with the current version. So I can really recommend you to use that one as a base for your flying, and I'm actually going to link it in the video description below. Is that trees in the water down there? Or let me ask the locals, some of which are undoubtedly in the comments of the video. Are there supposed to be trees in the water down here? After all, it's photogrammetric, so it has to come from somewhere. By the way, this is a really lovely area, isn't it? This really is paradise over here. I want to go here someday. Even though this is probably not an area where I'd like to actually have an engine failure at the moment. That would probably extend my swimming holidays. Depending on the proximity of crocodiles, I guess. Even though I'm not an absolute expert on wildlife in this area. Another look from the outside as well here. That's amazing with the sun effect, isn't it? Get down low here, because I really want to see what these look like if I'm just getting close up. So we're flying a helicopter after all, so let's use some of our helicopter's features here. Is it just me, or are the bushes and everything on the ground here looking better as well? I don't think I've seen them looking this good in any scenery before. Have Microsoft done some general update here? Because this seems to look quite a bit better than it did on previous photogrammetric sceneries. These ones over here especially. I mean, this is not photogrammetric, they can't tell me that. No, that is not. But that's probably the right choice, because trees usually don't look that good in photogrammetry. Yeah, but if you just place some normal 3D trees over here, really makes it better. I have to say, going this low, this is actually looking really, really good. I'm surprised to see it that good. I do remember in one of the earlier versions of the simulator, going low over photogrammetric forests just looked ugly. This is not the case anymore, at least not over here. Might be worth doing a second first look later on in one of the more urban areas like Seattle or San Diego. But for now, I have to say that this scenery is really impressive, especially seeing that it's provided free of charge. Alright, I want to do that landing challenge. Let's see how it looks like when we actually land here on the roads. Finding a place where we're not instantaneously run over by the cars, but we'll get there eventually. Thank you for that, FS Realistic, even though I don't quite agree, at least in this particular case. Right, some flying grass here, but well, I guess this is asking too much, going this slow. This is asking too much. Anyway, as soon as we're just a couple hundred feet high, this is looking amazing once again. So, let's not annoy all the locals here much longer with our engine noises. This is pretty much the covered area. We have reached the northeastern end that you can clearly see with a marked change in color over there. So that's something that I would have wished for Microsoft to do a little bit more work on and have those color differences eliminated. But I can imagine it's probably not all that easy. Alright, this concludes our first look. This was Key Largo, the largest of the Florida Keys, as covered in the World Update 10, United States of America and associated territories for Microsoft Flight Simulator. It's just been released, so go and get it. The download is about 2.6 gigabytes if I'm not mistaken. No, actually it's a bit more, it's 5.7. So you'll need a little bit of free disk space, but if you're flying in this area, if you want to enjoy something new, then this is definitely worth it. And the best, of course, it's totally free of charge. Thank you very much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this one, and I'm looking forward to see you all on